Welcome to NuttieBuddie Entertainment. The Great.
All right, perfect. Okay, let's start with The Great, and maybe we'll let Sarah go first here. What is your first great of the movie?
I'm gonna go with Loki / Tom Hiddleston because I think they really just knocked it out of the park with his casting. I think the fact that they keep bringing him back and he has his own show speaks to. I don't think people would love the character as much if it wasn't for what he brought to it. Even I thought some of his character arc in this movie, some of his dialogue was a little meh, but he like sold it. He gave 100% to this role. And just even Loki as a villain, he's so sneaky, he's so sly. It adds such a fun dimension where it's not just like forthright, like I'm just a villain who just beats the crap out of people. He has so much thought and scheming to it, so that's fun to watch.
Yeah, we saw how his strategy unfolded as his plan went, kept growing. And it's like, oh yeah, this guy knows what he's doing. What did you think of Loki, Brian?
He was also in my grade as well. I actually feel like we got more of a story and like a reason to kind of feel what he was going through more than we did with Thor, which I'll get into a little bit more with that. But I think we could really connect with the character of Loki and what he was going to in this whole like drama that was out and playing in Asgard. So yeah, he was in my grade as well. And I mean, Loki's just a Loki savage.
Yeah,
all around.
Well, it's interesting because like it starts out like it seems as the movie, and you guys can correct me, but he first wanted to be he wanted the king, right? He wanted the crown. But then once he found out he was adopted, well, not even adopted, basically like he should have been a frost giant, his plan sort of like came from like, I want the kingdom to be I want to be proven right that I'm the true king despite me not being part of this family. And that's what I thought was kind of cool. And you could see it. I agree with you, Sarah. He sold every single scene he was in. You felt his despair and like his betrayal when he was fighting with Odin right before Odin, like, why didn't you tell me the truth? So yeah, I really love the character. Here's a question for both you guys. So better casting choice in this movie, Chris Hemsworth for Thor or Tom Hiddleston for Loki?
I would say Tom Hiddleston. Not to like jump ahead, I don't feel like Chris Hemsworth like hits his stride more into like Ragnarok era because I think they let him go wild and like get into his like comedy chops. But I mean, he does a good job in this movie, but I think Tom Hiddleston is just on a different level acting wise.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and I know like in the beginning they were actually thinking of doing Tom Hiddleston as Thor. They were maybe going to be casting him as that as well, which would have been a little wild to see. But yeah, I'd agree with that. I think Loki's more spot on, especially for this movie. Because yeah, we'll get into it a little bit more, but they really wanted Thor to be like very strict on like comic book Thor. This is how he acts, this is how he looks, this is his perception of things. Where it felt like Loki had a little bit more free range of like how he could develop his character. So
yeah, I would agree with that. I'm with you guys. Okay, so Brian, while we're at you, what's your first great?
I also had Loki as a great, but then also I'm gonna put the storytelling in great specifically for what they did with under 2 hours. I think they really did a good job of developing a story that you could keep up with and get into and see the kind of family drama unfold. Specifically the family drama with Odin, Thor, and Loki. You get a real good connection on that. And even when the movie was ending, I'm like, oh my goodness, it's only like an hour and 40 minutes. Like this feels longer. And you don't get that now with many of the Marvel movies. They did a really good job of how they wrote the script and like had it developed through as well. Specifically on the side of like Thor with Loki and then his father as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. I did have, I'll just add to that, even the beginning where we got to see the history of Asgard, and we get the idea of like the 12 realms, and how, like we're learning more about that now, even like with phase 4, when we were talking about Moon Knight and stuff. And then how the visuals of how it like went underneath Asgard, and then it comes up, and then it shows the entire city of Asgard. I thought that was really well done. I'm with you. The story itself was a really, really well done story. I thought the pacing was great as well.
Yeah.
Let's see, Sarah, you got another great?
Yeah, I agree with what Brian said. I especially with origin stories, they can be so exposition heavy sometimes, and they really just kind of flew through it, but it also made sense. So I enjoyed that aspect as well. I enjoyed, we were maybe like 20 minutes into the movie, and I was just like, I forgot how unlikable Thor was to begin with. Like, just such an obnoxious jerk. And I thought they really handled well his growth as a character throughout the movie, that it didn't feel forced that, oh, he's learning these lessons, he's growing as a person. It kind of made logical sense with what he experienced on Earth, that he would change his mindset. And I think they handled that well without it seeming forced or unnatural that it was happening just to like progress the story. It seemed like, okay, this would really realistically happen to him.
Yeah, no, that's true. Like the banishment, thinking he killed his father, all that change, that probably change a person, right? So yeah, no, that's a great point. Let's see here. I'll go with mine are. I like they kept the universe in mind when making this movie. This is something that, Brian, when we've been doing some of the other reviews, that we're like, how isn't people seeing this? How, like, yeah. But if Bruce Banner was mentioned by Sylvik. Yeah, yep. He was mentioned. Stark was mentioned when the Destroyer showed up. He's like, oh, is that another one of Stark's machines? Mm-hmm. And then we got to see we were introduced to Hawkeye, and I thought that was kind of cool that they kept it like all connected still, just by simple phrases, and we're like, oh, we know that guy. So I really enjoyed that. So that's going to be one of my great, as well as Agent Coulson. I forgot how cool he was. When they found out that Thor was, they used that fake identity, and they were like, oh, fake identity detected or whatever it was on the computer. He let him go anyway. And I thought, because he kind of maybe thought that Thor was a good guy, but even though they kept an eye on him. But I really like that as well. Just
that was something I didn't remember from the originally watching it, like that whole scene where he saw that false identity and still let him go and keeping tabs on him. But yeah, what you had just talked about, the introduction of like a lot of characters into this was in my good as well. I had that too. But yeah, we had Hydra was also like the Easter eggs for like Hydra and some of the agents, and there were also in it, as well as Barton and Coulson. And then also I really liked how they were, this is Marvel's first step into the cosmos of the universe of what's starting to unfold with the Avengers and everything. And they did a really good job of introducing this. And this is kind of like the first foot into a really cool direction that they go with. Unlike the multiverse that we now have, that is just all over the place. But hey.
Yeah, no, we agree. Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. Let's see, any other greats before we go on to the good?
I also had Odin, played by Anthony Hopkins, in the great. Yeah. I think he's just nailed that character throughout all of these movies, but specifically this one, and how he was with Thor and then also Loki. It was extremely believable, and I don't think it would have been as good a movie if they had gotten someone else. And he just hit spot on, like what Thor needed in the moments, as well as Loki as well. So I have him in my great.
Yeah, he was really good. Good Odin, for sure. Yeah. Any other greats?
This is very minor, but I really just love the very brief scene where like Mjolnir becomes like a tourist attraction, where you just have people going out there trying to pull it out of the ground. You got the guy making like hot dogs and stuff. It was a fun little blip, and it was like, yeah, this would 100% happen in real life if something fell out of the sky.
Yeah, and then Stan Lee using that truck, and then the whole back end flying off. That was great. I agree. That was a great scene. I like to, I'll put this in the great, just the line about Thor's hammer, that it was fit for a king to destroy, but also to build. It was the perfect weapon to destroy and to build. So a weapon fit for a king, for some reason that resonated with me. I'm like, oh, that's a great line. So I wanted to add that to the great as well.
Yeah. And it's also, I'm glad I rewatched it, because when Odin is throwing his hammer back to Earth, he says the line where it's like, anyone who's worthy will possess Thor's powers as well. And that kind of leads into what we're going to get in the latest movie, why Jane then is going to have Thor's power as well. So it'll be interesting how we get there, but at least that kind of sets up for this future like event. So it's just not out of the blue, like, how does she get it? So
correct. And Captain America, right? He was able to use Thor's hammer and have the power of lightning and stuff. So yeah, that was
I almost wish they would have focused a little bit more on that for Captain America in the movie, because obviously he was able to use like the lightning and the hammer. But I think if he's able to have Thor's power, he would have got like a super boost of just like, his meters just going, it's over 5,000, as they say in Dragon Ball Z.
Oh yeah. Oh, I got you. Like his power levels would have got up.
Levels, His power levels were 5,000.
Yeah. Where they need the little the power
scanner.
level, reader for that. Yeah. No, that's a good point, because it seemed like that's what it seems like it gives to Jane, right? With all the trailers we've seen, like not just the powers, the lightning, and be able to wield the hammer, but the strength as well, and the endurance and stuff like that. So you'd think Captain America would have went up a level. That's a great point.
Yeah, or just like amped up his like costume just a little bit or something like that.
Give him a cape.
Yes.
Okay, you guys ready to go on to the good?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. Thanks so much for watching this clip here on NuttieBuddie Entertainment. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please let us know in the comment section what you felt about the first Thor movie. What was your great, good, bad, and or ugly? Also, check out some of the other videos. We have the rest of the Thor Great, Good, Bad, Ugly out there. We also have a lot of other Great, Good, Bad, Ugly movie reviews and episode by episode reviews as well. Please follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll talk to you guys soon.